Part 52. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 513. 511. After He Tian tidied up the guest room, she started doing housework. Chi Daniu was washing clothes just now, and He Tian joined in. A large basin of clothes was quickly washed and hung to dry on the rope in the yard. He Tian went to the house and took out the gift for Chi Daniu. This is a fine piece of light blue cloth with a delicate color. It can be used to make 3 summer tops. Big girl, this piece of cloth is for you. Although it's autumn now and I can't wear it, it can be used to make summer clothes next year. This piece of cloth is big and can make 3 pieces. Not only you, but also your 2 sisters. Chi Daniu rubbed her hands and said, Sister Tian, this is too precious. She wanted it, but thinking about how kind He Tian was to her, she was embarrassed to accept it. Okay, this is my gift to you. Thank you for taking care of my family, He Tian said. I am outside, and when I think that you will help take care of my mother, I don't worry about my family anymore. You don't know how much you help me. When He Tian said this, Chi Daniu asked coquettishly, is it true? Of course it's true, He Tian said. There is also a pack of white rabbit here. You can take it back and give it to your younger brothers and sisters. Eat it too. Don't give it all to your younger brothers and sisters. Thank you, Sister Tian. Chi Daniu thanked her. Sister Tian was kind to her. She might not be able to repay Sister Tian with the same material things, but she could treat her sincerely and help Sister Tian. Chi Daniu took things and helped the family finish the housework before saying goodbye to everyone and leaving. Seeing Daniu Chi leaving, Grandma Chi San said, such a good girl, I don't know which one will be cheaper in the future. Yes, He Tian said, Aunt Lu is a sensible person and will find a good husband for the older girl. Chi Xiaoyan had just left here when Chi Xiaoyan came over. It turned out that when Chi Daniu went home, she passed by Chi Xiaoyan's house and told her that He Tian was back. Upon hearing this, Chi Xiaoyan hurried back. Sister Tian, I miss you. By the way, how is Huo Yingzhe? Are you okay? Chi Xiaoyan asked a lot of questions. Okay, I'm right behind you, He Tian said. You are getting married, of course I have to come back to attend the wedding. Chi Xiaoyan has been practicing outside for 3 years, and her face is much thicker than before. She said, future brother-in-law, I am getting married soon. You have to give me a gift, otherwise I will not let my sister marry you. I can't prepare it for you. He Tian twisted Chi Xiaoyan's arm, you're just a greedy person. Oh my god, you're not even married yet, and you're already looking for your future brother-in-law, Chi Xiaoyan said. It's true that no one can keep a good girl. He Tian was not a good person either. She curled her lips and said, you should stay, why are you in such a hurry to get married? It's not that I'm anxious, it's brother Dajan who is anxious, Chi Xiaoyan said, rolling her cute little eyes. See what you can do, He Tian said. If there is anything you particularly want, tell me. If I can get it, I will give it to you. If I can't get it, forget it. It all depends on what you want, future brother-in-law, don't forget it, Chi Xiaoyan said, joking with Huo Yingzhe. Remember, be sure to be ready, Huo Yingzhe said. Chi Xiaoyan's father was the head of village Chi. He often helped He Tian in the past, and he remembered it in his heart. Niu Dajan and Chi Xiaoyan's family conditions are very good, and they probably have 3 turns and 1 ring. He needs to think carefully about giving him some rare gift. Sister Tian, my future brother-in-law is generous, but you are stingy. Chi Xiaoyan complained that it was because the relationship was so good that she could be so unscrupulous. He Tian asked Huo Yingzhe to talk to Grandma Chi San, and she brought Chi Xiaoyan into the house to talk about private conversations between women. How is your work going? He Tian asked, is it not assigned yet? Not yet, Chi Xiao Yan said, but 9 out of 10, it will be in the city, where there is room for improvement. What about Brother Dajan? He Tian Tian asked with concern. You can't just branch out in 2 places as soon as you get married, right? He did a good job at the Daowen County Post Office and is now a small boss, Chi Xiao Yan said. If I am assigned to Hawaii City, he will probably have to change his job. People go to higher places, and water flows to lower places, so that's fine, he Tian Tian said, as long as you two love each other and get along well. Stop talking about me, what about you? You have been engaged to Huo Yingja for so long, so it's time to get married, right? Chi Xiao Yan said, now that you are old enough and have feelings, it should be a matter of course. He Tian Tian also wanted to get married as soon as possible, but she had promised the Snake King before that she would retain her virginity to ensure the purity of the holy blood before he tore open the rift in space and left the human world. The Snake King had done her a great favor, and she couldn't break his promise. I will tell you when I have decided on a date, he Tian Tian said. Anyway, you don't need to go to the army now, and it will be easy for us to meet. That's right, Chi Xiao Yan said with a smile. The 2 little sisters had endless topics to talk about. Unconsciously, it was 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Chi Xiao Yan said, it's time for you to cook. I'm going back and will come to play with you tomorrow. Okay, then I won't keep you, he Tian Tian left Chi Xiao Yan. When he Tian Tian arrived in the kitchen, she saw that Huo Yingja had already washed the vegetables and rice, and was waiting for he Tian Tian to start cooking. Huo Yingja can do this, but he can't cook. Thanks to you, I'll light the fire for you, Huo Yingja said. It was awkward to see Huo Yingja sitting on a small bench with long legs and feet, but seeing his serious expression, he Tian Tian couldn't help but kick him out. Okay, he Tian Tian agreed. There were no matches in the kitchen, so he Tian Tian went to look for them in the house. When she got the match back, Huo Yingja had already lit it. With just a snap of his fingers, the firewood at the bottom of the pot caught fire. After cooking, he Jingyu went home. I was very happy to see Huo Yingja here and recovered. When he was happy, he took out his treasured wine. He Jingyu, who was a light drinker, got drunk as expected due to Huo Yingja's small flattery and persuasion to drink. Even though he was drunk, he Jingyu kept saying yes, yes, drink, drink. It can be seen that he is really happy, God still cares about their family. The knots in his and his wife's hearts disappeared because Huo Yingja improved. They can also be 2 families with a harmonious relationship, or an elder who loves the younger one, rather than a cruel parent who beats the couple. He Tian Tian prepared hot water for her father to drink at night, washed her mother's feet, and then returned to the yard. Huo Yingja was looking up at the starry sky. The bright stars in the sky were very clear. It felt like these stars were not far above his head and within reach. Facing the vast stars, Huo Yingja felt his own insignificance for the first time. Even though he was a god in his previous life and an outstanding person in his previous life, there were still many unknown things and difficulties waiting ahead. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 514. 512. Seeing that Huo Yingja was not sleeping, he Tian Tian walked forward gently and said, it's autumn now and it's still quite cold at night. Why don't you go back to sleep? Huo Yingja turned his head and smiled brightly. It's okay, I just want to see the starry sky, Huo Yingja said. If you're not sleepy, can we watch it together? Okay, he Tian Tian said, wait for me. He Tian Tian went back, soaked the chrysanthemum honey water, took the salty sesame seed cakes she brought back, and put them on a plate. Stop standing, let's sit and drink tea and eat snacks, he Tian Tian said, then we watch the stars together, away from the hustle and bustle of the city. When we came here, did you find that the sky here is very clean, and the stars in the sky are so far away from each other? Are we very close? Yes, It's like you can reach it with your hand, Huo Yingji said. No wonder uncle, he said, the environment here is very good. I feel it. Especially the back mountain. The little snake and his pets all went to the back mountain. It was a blessed land. The reason why I came here and sighed for a long time was because the location of Daowen County was his residence in ancient times, and the blessed land on the back mountain was a cave he left for cultivation. There is a storage room that he sealed underground under the dark river, which contains some odds and ends. It was just that after the war between gods and demons, the spiritual energy was thin, and their divine world reopened a space. He left here directly with his original residence, but only most of the things. Over the years, the place has changed a lot. Tian Tian is right, everything is destined. Yes, if you like, you can stay here more, he Tian Tian said. It's autumn now, and you can pick a lot of things on the back mountain. Are the dry goods you send home every year picked during the season? Huo Yingji took a sip of honey water and ate a snack. He Tiandian nodded and said, yes, with you joining us this year, we will definitely be able to achieve greater gains. Okay, I'll accompany you, Huo Yingji said. This place used to be his. He could vaguely sense where there were good things, and he would get more good things for He Tian Tian. After eating snacks and drinking tea, He Tian Tian made hot water and asked Huo Yingji to wash up, then they went back to rest. Tian Tian, Huo Yingji saw He Tian Tian turning to leave and called her softly. Huh, He Tian Tian turned and tilted her head. Brother Yingji called me. Huo Yingji stretched out his long hand, pressed He Tianatian's little head on his chest, and said softly, I haven't hugged you all afternoon. He Tian Tian was embarrassed. There was no one in the yard anyway, her father was drunk, her mother was taking care of her father, and her grandma had already rested. He Tian Tian boldly hugged Huo Yingji with her backhand and said, then I'll give you a hug, too. Do you feel happy? I feel it, Huo Yingji said seriously. He Tian Tian stood up on tiptoes, kissed Huo Yingji on the face, and said, good night. He ran into his house and closed the door. Looking at He Tianatian's back, Huo Yingji smiled and returned to his room. Lying on the hard bed, Huo Yingji rested his head on his hands, recalling every detail of this period. The sun rises in the east and rains in the west. There is no sunshine, but there is sunshine. Human life turns out to be so interesting. I only envy mandarin ducks but not immortals. No wonder some gods and demons are willing to intermarry with humans. Integrating the divine consciousness of Changling God and Huo Yingji, he became a person or god with a complete personality or complete godhead. This is good, he likes it. He wants to grow old slowly and spend his short life with his beloved woman like an ordinary human being. Early the next morning, He Tian Tian was awakened by the crow of the big five-colored rooster at home. She opened her eyes, stretched and yawned. There is only one word, cool. Except for Wang Shuping, others started to stand up one after another. He Tian Tian returned home and took over all the work at home, including, of course, the big follower Huo Yingji. After finishing her work at home, He Tian Tian took the gifts she brought from Nanxi and walked around Kijia village. On the way, he met Zhao Dejiao with his daughter, eldest grandson, and two twin grandsons. He Tian Tian took out a few pieces of white rabbit from his pocket, 2 pieces for each person. The child had a sweet mouth and said, Aunt Tian, you are so beautiful. This is Zhao Dejiao's eldest grandson, Qi Ergu's eldest son, and he is quite familiar with He Tian Tian. So good, He Tian Tian praised. Zhao Dejiao took the child aside and said, Tian Tian, you have something to do beforehand, so don't worry about this little brat. Aunt Zhao, I have something else to do. I'm going to take a walk first, and then I'll go sit at your house later. He Tian Tian smiled. Huo Yingji whispered from behind, goodbye, Aunt Zhao. Zhao Dejiao felt a little excited when she saw the beautiful Huo Yingji talking to her. Oh my god, this Huo Yingji is so good looking. Together with Tian Tian, he is really a talented man and a beautiful woman. Goodbye, goodbye, Zhao Dejiao said repeatedly. What kind of secrets can there be between children? After a while, all the children who came out to play knew that Sister Tian Tian was good looking and would give her sweets. They all ran to Grandma Chi San's house to wait for He Tian Tian to come back and beg for sweets. Huo Yingjia and He Tian Tian first went to see Old Man Chi, Professor Wang, and the others and gave them gifts. He Tian Tian thought that her mother was at home and her father was very busy, so she stayed for a while and came back with Huo Yingjia. As soon as I returned to the village, there were a lot of small popping beans popping up in the village. Some were relatively clean, and some had snot flowing into their mouths. They could always suck the snot back at the critical moment. Sister Tian Tian, you are so beautiful. Good looking, good looking. He Tian Tian made a visual inspection and found that there were probably a dozen children, all 2 or 3 years old. Some of them looked very similar. They were probably twins born in the village in the past 2 or 3 years. There are so many of them, He Tian Tian doesn't know them at all. Seeing this, He Tian Tian had to take the basket back, go back and catch a lot of white rabbits, and said, 2 candies per person, don't crowd, line up, and give it to whoever is obedient. Oh, the child was obedient and clumsy in line. After giving out the candies, the little kid still praised He Tian Tian for looking good. It was time to have dinner soon, and the adults in the village came out to look for the children. When they saw the candy given by He Tian Tian, they all came over to thank him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 515. 513. However, this is only a small part. In the afternoon, there were more children at the door. For the first time, He Tian Tian saw dozens of little kids standing at the door, and He Tian Tian was so scared that she didn't dare to go out. Mom, why are there so many children in the village? He Tian Tian said with a bitter face. She went into the house and took out all the white rabbits in the room. Wang Shuping smiled and said, nowadays, dozens or hundreds of children are born in the village every year. In the past 2 or 3 years, there will certainly be more. If those children don't leave, I will take out all the candy at home and share it with them. I will tell them that there is no more candy and they must not come. He Tian Tian was afraid that all the children would come. Haha, go ahead, Wang Shuping said, tell the children nicely and don't be harsh. He Tian Tian nodded and said, I got it, Mom. He Tian Tian took out the remaining 2 packs of white rabbit toffees at home and said, this is the last one. Once you divide it up, it's gone. Do you remember? While He Tian Tian was talking, children kept coming over. He Tian Tian originally wanted to get 2 yuan per person, but seeing so many children, he decided to get 1 yuan per person. Children can eat sweets as long as they have them, and they are not greedy. He took the candy and ran away. He was clever and praised He Tian Tian for being good looking. If he was lucky, he could have 2 pieces of candy. After finally sending all the children away, He Tian Tian still had 2 toffees left in her hand. She turned to look at Huo Yingjia, who was smiling not far away, and peeled one off and put it in his mouth. Master Huo, have you seen enough jokes? He Tian Tian wrinkled his nose and asked. This man didn't come out to help, so he just watched the show. J. Haha, Huo Yingjia smiled and ate the sweet white rabbit toffee. He Tian Tian ate one herself, and she ate the candy bar Zhang Lifang bought for her. When Wang Shuping saw that He Tian Tian had finished the party, she covered her mouth and smiled, and said, it's okay that the party is over, you are engaged, because Yingjia didn't come over, and we didn't give out candies. Yingjia just happened to come over, so he spread out some candies and had a good time. Isn't that a little too little? Huo Yingja asked. Would you like to go to the county town and buy some more? No need, he Tian said, we will buy more when we get married. When Wang Shuping heard her daughter's words, she felt a little embarrassed on her face. She patted her daughter and said, young lady, are you ashamed to say this? He Tian was quite speechless. The boy is getting married and the girl is getting married. What's the point? Go to work quickly. Wang Shuping drove He Tian away. Yingja, you stay. Okay, He Tian gave Huo Yingja a confused look and went to do housework. Huo Yingja stepped forward and supported Wang Shuping and said, Aunt Wang, let me help you, sit over there. That's troublesome, Wang Shuping said. Tian, this girl is very outspoken. You grew up together, and you know this little girl better than we do. Since Tian spoke shamelessly today, I want to ask you what plan. The mother-in-law gave time and the child must go abroad after he is 1 year old. If He Tian hadn't gotten married at that time, she would have followed suit. Huo Yingja smiled and said softly, this time when I came here, my parents also told me about the marriage. The marriage had been arranged before, but because of my work, the wedding was postponed. Some time ago, because I was injured, my parents didn't say much. But they have a plan in mind. If I never recover, they will accept Tian as their adopted daughter. If I recover, they will start the marriage. When Wang Shuping heard what Huo Yingja said, she couldn't help but feel sad. If Huo Yingja couldn't get better, their parents couldn't let their daughter remain a widow for the rest of her life. It's rare for the Huo family to think like this. So how are you now? Wang Shuping asked with concern. I was so happy yesterday that I didn't have time to ask you carefully. I'm already fine, Huo Yingja said, but my marriage application report has been approved. I'm here this time to discuss the marriage situation for my parents. If you have any requests, feel free to ask. As long as Huo Yingja is good, that's better than anything else. We don't have any requirements here. Your family's conditions are good, and ours is not bad, and we won't wrong you two children, Wang Shuping said, but what will you do with your future work? Are you still going to work at the Weapons Research Institute? Huo Yingja smiled and said, I am planning to recuperate for 1.5 years on the grounds of poor health. Moreover, I got news from Yanjing that education cannot be neglected. Now that primary and secondary schools have started classes, it is estimated that there will be no enrollment in universities far away. I also want to take advantage of this time to study hard, go to college, and study more. When Wang Shuping heard this, she felt happy. She likes children who love to learn, and said, Tian graduated from junior high school, and you graduated from high school. You really need to study more. If the university has unified admissions, then you must study. Anyway, do it for the country. After completing your studies in construction, you will be able to do scientific research better. That's what Aunt Wang said, Huo Yingja said. It's okay to work for the country, but not without fair treatment. He doesn't want to be treated like that. Huo Yingja was polite and well behaved, and was deeply liked by Wang Shuping. Wang Shuping now has the mentality of a mother-in-law looking at her son-in-law, and the more she looks at her, the more satisfied she becomes. When He Jingyu came back, he saw his daughter busy in the kitchen, and his wife and future son-in-law talking and laughing. When Huo Yingja saw He Jingyu coming, he quickly got up, diligently fetched a basin of water for He Jingyu, and said, Uncle He, wash your face. Okay, He Jingyu just thought that Huo Yingja didn't feel sorry for his daughter, but seeing Huo Yingja diligently fetching water, it was actually okay for him to feel sorry for his daughter's father. Here, He Jingyu washed up, put on clean clothes, and chatted with his wife. Huo Yingja went to cook with He Tian, leaving space for his future father-in-law and mother-in-law. Yingja is so kind. Just now, Yingja told me about marriage. What do you think? Wang Shuping asked. Her daughter is already 20 years old, so she is not young. He Jingyu was quite upset when he heard that his daughter was getting married. How about waiting? He Jingyu was reluctant and wanted to wait another year or two. Wang Shuping naturally understood her husband's little thoughts and said, "Old He, you just came back from Yanjing, and you also told us that Tian Tianyi will take care of Huo Yingjia, and the two of them are alone together. Aren't you worried? Besides, now that Huo Yingjia is well, we have nothing to worry about, and it's time for the child to get married. This matter has been delayed for a long time, and our daughter has suffered a lot. It shouldn't cross the line, right?" He Jingyu was a little hesitant, but he often saw Huo Yingjia staring at his daughter, and he probably had secret kisses where he couldn't see her. He Jingyu, who just now thought Huo Yingjia was pleasing to the eye, now felt that Huo Yingjia was an eyesore. He was about to take away his treasure that had been painful to him since childhood. "We are so in love, and they are so young and vigorous, who knows what will happen," Wang Shuping whispered softly. "Don't be reluctant to let go, it's time for boys to get married and girls to get married. When Tian Tian and I are so old, it's all so sweet," Wang Shuping said. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 516. 514. The husband is reluctant to part with his daughter, but he can't delay her. He Jingyu sighed, "Alas, a girl can't be kept when she grows up. Our treasure will be handed over to others. You are so narrow-minded. If our daughter gets married, she will no longer be our daughter," Wang Shuping said. "Don't think too much in the future. If our daughter knows, she really won't get married and can't get married, you will be even more worried." "That's true," He Jingyu nodded and said, "Forget it. Only my daughter likes it. Yingjia is not a bad kid. We watched him grow up. It's okay to get married early." "That's right," Wang Shuping said, and Yingjia also said that the higher authorities have allowed elementary and junior high school classes to start. It is estimated that university education will soon be on the right track. Tian Tian has been reviewing for such a long time, she will definitely be admitted to university. As for Yingjia, he also wants to go to university for further studies. This is even better. It's good for the young couple to go to school together. Wang Shuping has already thought about what will happen after marriage. "Just like we did in the past, husband and wife follow each other," He Jingyu said stickily, thinking of the things in their youth, looking at his wife with tender eyes. "Don't brag, don't mention how annoying you were at that time." Wang Shuping smiled with a cigarette in her mouth, and also thought of her husband's things in her youth, and felt sweet in her heart. "Haha, then you still worry about me all day long, worry about me, and care about me and feel sorry for me," He Jingyu said with a smile, teasing his wife. The passion of youth, after being stored for time, has become more mellow and distant. Wang Shuping was embarrassed by what her husband said, stretched out her hand and pinched her husband a few times, and said angrily, "The children are all here, don't talk nonsense." "I'm not talking nonsense, I'm being realistic," He Jingyu said, seeing his wife's face change. "Okay, I'm talking nonsense, okay. That's more like it." Wang Shuping smiled, and achieved a staged victory. He Tian Tian and Huo Yingjia in the kitchen occasionally heard the couple whispering and often smiled at each other. It was rare for a couple to be so loving at this age. Since he talked about marriage with the elders today, Huo Yingjia couldn't help but tell He Tian Tian. "Tian Tian, I told my aunt about our marriage today. If you have no objection, I will write to my parents immediately and ask them to come over and start preparing for the wedding." Huo Yingjia said that he had married He Tian Tian a long time ago. In the past and present lives, the two had experienced so much, no less than 99 and 81 difficulties. Now they can finally be together, but He Tian Tian still can't agree. She had promised the Snake King before to help the Snake King survive the space tearing by the thunder and return to the demon world. However, if she got married, the holy blood would inevitably be polluted, so she couldn't provide the holy blood to the Snake King. He Tian believed that everything she had was given by the Snake King from the beginning to the end, and she always told herself to be grateful and repay the Snake King. What's wrong? Huo Yingzhe frowned, and seeing that Tian was slow to answer him, he frowned and asked, "Don't you agree?" He Tian nodded, but then shook her head, quite confused. "Agree or disagree?" Huo Yingzhe asked. "You know, I can't wait to get along with you day and night, and be honest with you." He Tian was still calm when she heard about getting along with you day and night, but when she heard be honest with you, she automatically thought of something wrong. "I agree, but not now." He Tian whispered. She disappointed Huo Yingzhe again. "Since you agree, why not now?" Huo Yingzhe frowned, looked at He Tian, and then thought of it. "Is it that little snake?" He Tian looked up suddenly when she heard this. "Brother Yingzhe, you know it too?" He Tian asked. "Ah, Brother Yingzhe, how could you know?" "I didn't tell you." Huo Yingzhe touched He Tian's head and said, "Just because you don't tell me doesn't mean I don't know. In fact, I know much more than you can imagine, so you should tell me if there is anything in the future. If I can help you, you won't take a detour." That dead little snake was indeed a stumbling block on his road to marriage. "It's not that I don't want to tell you, but I can be here now because of the help of the Snake King," He Tian said. "You don't know how much suffering I suffered in my previous life and how many tears I shed. Now I can start over again. This is the credit of the Snake King, and I came here alone and was embarrassed by others, and it was also the Snake King who helped me. With his help, I overcame difficulties again and again." He Tian hoped that Huo Yingzhe understood the help the Snake King had given her. "But, you have repaid him with holy blood," Huo Yingzhe said, "so you don't owe him anything now." He Tian shook her head and said, "You can't count it like that. When I was in the most difficult time, it was the Snake King who helped me, so I have to help the Snake King. When I left home, I missed home very much, and when the Snake King left the demon world, he also missed his family. We are both wanderers in the world, and we help and encourage each other. Now I have almost everything I want, but the Snake King has not. He has only survived the 6 days of the mysterious thunder, and I don't know when he will survive the 9 days of the mysterious thunder. If I get married, it will be difficult to keep my virginity, and the holy blood will be polluted, so I can't help the Snake King virginity." Polluted holy blood? The words of the little snake are quite fresh. "Haha, according to what you said, that little snake is indeed pitiful." Huo Yingzhe knew that He Tian was gentle on the surface, but in fact had a very stubborn temper. After she made a decision, she usually would not change it. If he insists on insisting on it now, He Tian will definitely quarrel with him. It is indeed not a wise move to quarrel or lose temper with your fiancé in front of your future father-in-law and mother-in-law. "Okay, don't think too much. I'll figure this out," Huo Yingzhe said, patting her on the shoulder. "You just need to be the bride with peace of mind." He Tian knew that Huo Yingzhe was unhappy, but she insisted on this. She desperately wanted to be with Huo Yingzhe, but there were some things that she couldn't give up just because of love, such as friendship and kindness. "Oh," He Tian responded in a low voice, "you, don't embarrass the Snake King." Huo Yingzhe raised his eyebrows and said, "What if I make things difficult for him? Will you ignore me?" "Ah," He Tian was surprised, "why can't we live in peace?" Snored. There is simply no way to live in peace. Because that little snake cub actually coveted He Tian. Do you think he didn't see it? She is used to pretending to be a big snake in front of He Tian. She is disgusting when she looks at him and wants to slap him to death. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 517. 515. But just thinking about it? From Huo Yingzhe's memories of being a little spinner, he knew that he Tian attached great importance to that little spirit snake. He knew that it was not love, not even friendship, but deep affection. If he killed the Snake King, he Tian would always feel guilty and even blame him. Huo Yingzhi pinched he Tian's chin, kissed it, and said, "I'm kidding you, why would I embarrass your benefactor?" When Huo Yingzhi said this, he almost squeezed it out from between his teeth. "Really," he Tian was dubious, "your expression seems to be somewhat different from your words." "No, you must have seen it wrong." Huo Yingzhi touched he Tian's head. "Okay, your benefactor is mine. I combine the abilities and memories of the ancient gods, and I can help that little spirit snake. Let's help you repay the kindness of the Snake King." "Brother Yingzhi, you are so kind." He Tian stood up on tiptoes and kissed Huo Yingzhi on the face. God was not kind to her. In fact, sometimes, you can have both. "Okay," Huo Yingzhi smiled on his face and complained in his heart, "okay, it couldn't be better." Cough cough cough, he Jingyu wanted to come over and see if the food was ready, but he saw it. "You kiss me, and I kiss you." Although it was not the first time I saw it, he Jingyu's face was a bit unnatural. When he Tian heard her father's cough, she quickly turned around and continued cooking. Huo Yingzhi looked at his future father-in-law and smiled apologetically. He Jingyu turned around and left. "Brat." He Tian made dinner and brought it to the dining room. He Tian was caught by her father. She was embarrassed and kept her head down while eating. Seeing he Tian's shy look, Huo Yingzhi kept drinking porridge instead of vegetables, and would pick up vegetables for her from time to time. He Jingyu felt slightly better when he saw that Huo Yingzhi loved his daughter. "Okay, forgive this kid for now." Grandma Chi-san felt that the atmosphere was a bit weird. At a glance, she knew what was going on. As the peacemaker of the family, it was time for her to take the stage. By the way, at this time in previous years, there were already hot springs on the mountain. "Are there any hot springs this year?" Grandma Chi-san asked. "Where can I take a bath? It's so comfortable." She wants to take a bath. As soon as Grandma Chi-san asked this question, he Jingyu forgot about what happened before and said with a smile, "Father, you are so clever. There was no movement in the pool yesterday. Today it is steaming. It's not boiling hot, but it's still very hot. I think some people will go to the hot springs tomorrow and the day after." Okay, Grandma Chi-san said, "it's not as comfortable as taking a bath at home. By the way, there are many people going there this year, so you can dig more pools. This will make it cleaner." "Yes," he Jingyu nodded quickly. Secretary Chi also said the same today. "Work will start tomorrow to dig a few more ponds around those big pits. We will use most of them in our own village and use the rest for other villages." "This is good," Grandma Chi-san said. "Jingyu, when it's done, you can take Yingzhi to the bubble." Huo Yingzhi frowned and said, "No. No need. He has no habit of being naked in public. It's okay. There are many people, so don't be shy," he Jingyu said with a smile. "Haha, what I'm afraid of is the crowd." Huo Yingzhi couldn't refuse Grandma Chi-san's kindness, so he Jingyu had no choice but to nod. The next morning, after he Tian finished cleaning up her home, she took Huo Yingzhi for a walk in the back mountains. Before we even arrived in Daowen, we felt the smoke filling the air. "Brother Yingzhi, how are you? Do you think this place is like a fairyland on earth?" he Tian asked. "In front is the Daowen. After passing the Daowen, there is a large pond. It used to be a big pit left by the excavation of ancient tombs. What comes out of it is a hot spring." He Tian explained to Huo Yingzhi while walking. Huo Yingzhi frowned as he looked at it. The unfamiliar environment and familiar atmosphere made him feel a bit melancholy. In front of him is his paradise. When the two of them passed the peach garden and saw the pool in front of them, Huo Yingzhi was stunned. "Damn it! Has his paradise been ruined like this? Huo Yingzhi sensed the side with his spiritual consciousness and felt slightly relieved. It was okay, it was just that the surface was damaged, and there was nothing wrong underneath. You said this is a cemetery, Huo Yingzhi frowned. It seems that there are still capable people in the world, and it can be seen that this place is good. Yes, it seems that he was an emperor 1500 years ago. I heard that he was obsessed with alchemy and practice, so he found this place for himself as an acre of land. He Tian explained. You don't know, listen. It is said that the person in the golden coffin seems to be asleep, not dead at all. Those people could really imagine digging a grave in his blessed land. The body does not rot, little Doyle. Oh, what about the things here? Huo Yingzhi asked, following He Tian's words. He Tian was talking happily and said, most of them were excavated by the museum in Hawaii City and put in the museum. A small part was stolen by tomb robbers. However, no tomb robbers have been caught so far. Those things are unknown. Oh, Huo Yingzhi nodded. I didn't expect that little Kijia village would have such a great opportunity. Everyone says so. He Tian smiled. Now the weather is smooth in the village and we are healthy. It's pretty good. From a distance, I saw someone digging a small pond next to the big pond. They must have been digging some hot spring pools. Let's go, I'll take you to have a look. He Tian pulled Huo Yingzhi towards her father. Huo Yingzhi did not follow and said, I want to go there. Following Huo Yingzhi's direction, He Tian saw that the direction Huo Yingzhi was pointing was the cave, where the Snake King practiced. Okay, I'll take you to have a look and introduce you to the Snake King. He Tian said, one person and one snake will meet sooner or later, and she and Huo Yingzhi explained yesterday that it would be good to meet the Snake King. He Tian took Huo Yingzhi directly into the barrier. Steam continued to billow from the pool, which was even more smoky than outside. Snake King, little spinner turtle, He Tian shouted softly, we are here to visit you. At this time, a big head with horns stuck out from the boiling hot water. He was very happy to see He Tian coming over. But seeing Huo Yingzhi following him, the Snake King was unhappy. Where's the little spinner turtle? He Tian asked, where did it go? The Snake King looked towards the entrance of the underground river. At this time the little spinner turtle climbed up. Little spin turtle, why are you in the underground river? He Tian asked curiously, a little confused. It's so hot here, I don't dare to stay here, the little turtle said. Master. The little spinner turtle crawled to Huo Yingzhi's feet like a well-behaved pet. The Snake King actually wanted to get close to He Tian, but with Huo Yingzhi's presence, he didn't dare to move forward and could only look at He Tian helplessly. Seeing this, He Tian stepped forward and touched the Snake King's head and said, Snake King, how are you doing recently? The Snake King shook his head and said, no, my cultivation speed has slowed down a lot. Hearing this, He Tian felt guilty, and then touched the Snake King's head and said, it's all my fault for taking you around and leaving you with no time to practice well. Now that we are back, you must practice seriously and achieve success as soon as possible. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 518. 516. As close as He Tian was to the Snake King, Huo Yingzhi hated that little snake. Likes and dislikes are directly proportional. Don't disturb his practice. Let's go back. Huo Yingzhi felt as if he had shot himself in the foot. If he had known better, he would not have come here. It's good now that this little spirit snake has occupied the cave and distracted He Tian's attention. Since entering here, He Tian's attention has been on the little spirit snake. Okay, He Tian nodded, suddenly thinking of the conversation between the two yesterday. Brother Yingzhi, Didn't you say you wanted to help the Snake King? Huo Yingzhe was quite speechless. What should he do if his fiancée kept thinking about a snake? The Snake King looked at Huo Yingzhe, and when he saw Huo Yingzhe's meaningful eyes, he immediately turned away. It's so cool to see Huo Yingzhe deflated. Although I have to show weakness to He Tian, it doesn't matter. He enjoys this process. He needs to practice on his own now. When the time comes, I will naturally help him, Huo Yingzhe said softly, squinting his eyes and swishing at the Snake King like a knife. What a greedy little thing who doesn't know how to advance or retreat. He Tian thought about it and said, Snake King, you have to work hard. Internal factors play a decisive role in everything. Help from others plays a big role, but in the end it still depends on yourself. You practice hard and wait until Brother Yingzhe. When the time comes, he will definitely help you. Thank you, Tian, Snake King said, meeting you is the luckiest thing in my life. Countless times, the Snake King said this in his heart, but he kept pretending to be arrogant and a big-tailed snake in front of He Tian, and was too embarrassed to say it out loud. But now that Huo Yingzhe is here, the Snake King has given up his knot and is willing to be He Tian's follower. As long as He Tian treats him well, Huo Yingzhe can't do anything to him. When He Tian heard what the Snake King said, he was stunned for a moment, and then he was very happy and said, Snake King, you are too modest. This is what I should say. Meeting you is the luckiest thing in my life. Because it changed my life. Looking at He Tian's back, Huo Yingzhe frowned. In Tian's heart, meeting that little spiritual snake was the luckiest thing, but what about him? Huo Yingzhe was unhappy. If Huo Yingzhe is unhappy, Snake King will be happy. Tian, you are so kind, Snake King praised. Snake King, you are also very good, He Tian praised. Huo Yingzhe's eyes became colder and colder, making the Snake King uncomfortable. Seeing that his master was going crazy, the little spin turtle quickly came out to smooth things over and said, Snake King, you are going to practice, so you can't be careless. In the demon world, your parents are waiting for you, and your brothers and sisters are waiting for you to fight. The Snake King also knew that he could no longer push his limits. Well, what the little spinner turtle said is that I am going to practice. The Snake King said, goodbye sweetly, and went straight into the scalding water of Gililu. The little turtle smiled and said, Master, do you want to go down and take a look? Huo Yingzhe shook his head and said, I'm not going, you can go. Then Master, Madam, Xiaoxian is backing down. After saying this, Xiaoxian turtle also hurriedly entered the underground river, not wanting to feel the master's pressure. When the Snake King and the little spinner turtle were gone, He Tian turned around and said, Brother Yingzhe, let's go out. Yeah, Huo Yingzhe just agreed gently. He Tian saw a lot of wild jujubes growing on the jujube tree not far away. The wild jujubes on the mountain have been picked. She is not here this year, and no one at home has picked them. Now that I see wild jujube, how can I let it go? He wanted to pick jujubes, but He Tian didn't notice that Huo Yingzhe was unhappy at all. Brother Yingzhe, please help me beat the jujubes. I'll pick them up on the ground, He Tian said, finding a long stick in the cave. Come on, hurry up, these jujubes are particularly delicious. They are dried even after they are dried. You can drink it with water to strengthen your stomach and digestion. Oh, Huo Yingzhe took the long stick handed over by He Tian, silently began to hit dates. Huo Yingzhe was tall and strong, and with a few clicks, ripe jujubes kept falling from the tree. After a while, the ground was covered with a thick layer. He Tian looked at it and said, Stop. The mature ones have probably fallen off, but the immature ones are still growing on the tree. He Tian squatted on the ground, picking at the dates on the ground. Seeing that He Tian was picking it up seriously, Huo Yingzhe also picked it up. There was a basket full, and there were many more on the ground. So he Tian put the remaining jujubes on the big stone and put them there later. He Tian had to carry the bamboo basket by herself, but Huo Yingzhe was here, so why did he Tian have to work so hard? I'll do it, Huo Yingzhe said softly, carrying the bamboo basket and walking out of the cave. Thank you, brother Yingzhe. He Tian followed closely and quickly walked out of the cave. Huo Yingzhe walked in front, silent. He Tian trotted to catch up, saw Huo Yingzhe's handsome profile, and asked, Brother Yingzhe, what's wrong with you? He Tian didn't know that she was good to the Snake King, so Huo Yingzhe ate the wrong food. Nothing. Huo Yingzhe turned his head and gave He Tian a slap on the back of his head. Ah, He Tian was stunned. She was sure that Huo Yingzhe was angry. Huo Yingzhe used to be like this when he was angry. He said it was nothing, but he had a big opinion in his heart. It's so awkward for a man who talks twice and means what he means. Yingzhe's behavior when angry is particularly childish. Are you angry? He Tian asked knowingly, sticking out his tongue and making a face. No, Huo Yingzhe continued to turn his head back, not looking at He Tian. He Tian thought hard. She was fine when she just went up the mountain, why did she get angry after going to the cave? Moreover, it was his own request to go to the cave. He Tian stopped talking, who wouldn't get angry? I would too. He Tian didn't talk, turned her head back and faced Huo Yingzhe. The two arrived at the Daowen cabin and saw He Jingyu. Hey, where did you pick so many sour dates? He Jingyu asked curiously. He was busy with work before and had no time to do it. Secret, He Tian answered mysteriously. Oh, so many people came to take a bath today. Yes, you guys hurry down the mountain, He Jingyu urged, grabbing a handful of sour dates, saving two for when you have nothing to do. He Tian left 2 large handfuls for He Jingyu. When they went up the mountain, they kept talking. When they went down the mountain, one in front and one behind, they didn't say a word. Ouch, He Tian was not as good as Huo Yingzhe. She twisted her head while walking and almost fell down. Huo Yingzhe was quick-witted and turned around to grab He Tian who was about to fall down. He frowned and said, you are not careful when walking. How can I feel at ease? Although He Tian did not deliberately perform the bitter trick, Huo Yingzhe was finally willing to talk. Yes, this is a good start. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 519. 517. He Tian turned her head and figured out her posture. Who couldn't do it? She could teach herself without a teacher. Aren't you ignoring me? He Tian couldn't bear to ignore me and struck preemptively. Huo Yingzhe raised his head and looked at He Tian, who looked like a little scoundrel. He was quite helpless and said, I'm not ignoring you. Nonsense, are you angry or ignoring me? I can't feel it, He Tian asked, don't think of me as a fool. I'm smart. Don't try to lie to me. Still smart? I don't even know that he is angry, let alone why he is angry. What kind of shrewdness is this? Huo Yingzhe glared at He Tian and said slightly angrily, you are just a little fool. You are the little fool, He Tian retorted, tell me, why are you angry? You told me before that you wanted to tell you something. But you didn't tell me what you had in mind. Words don't mean anything. When Huo Yingzhe was questioned by He Tian, his face was a little unnatural and his eyes flickered, but he was embarrassed to say that he was too proud. Tell me, if you don't tell me, then I'll just guess, He Tian said, shaking Huo Yingzhe's arm. Huo Yingzhe was shaken to the point of being a little dizzy, and with a bit of shyness on his face, he said, meeting that little snake is the luckiest thing that has happened to you, so who am I? Ah, He Tian was surprised and covered her mouth. She understood. Huo Yingzhe was jealous. Still jealous of a snake. I ate this nameless old vinegar with gusto. Although it was incredible, He Tian was very curious about what happened to Huo Yingzhe. Are you jealous? He Tian smiled like a little fox who had just stolen a chicken, her eyes sparkling and watery. No, Huo Yingzhe retorted, refusing to admit that he had made a mistake. A man, a true man, cannot afford to disgrace that man. Haha, then why are your ears so red? He Tian smiled and said, don't you know that your ears get red when you lie? Huo Yingzhe covered his ears with both hands. At this time, He Tian felt that Huo Yingzhe was particularly funny. Such sweet aged vinegar pleased He Tian. Are you still angry? He Tian asked mischievously, blinking. Huo Yingzhe shook his head, but nodded again. What do you mean by shaking your head and nodding again? He Tian was puzzled, tell me carefully. If you don't tell me, I can't guess what you are thinking. Don't mess with me, I will punish you. Huo Yingzhe looked at He Tian, thought for a while, and said, then you should punish me. As he spoke, he licked his lips. Calling him a little demon boy is absolutely correct. So thick-skinned. He Tian admitted that she was bewitched. Okay, tell me, He Tian asked, this is the last time I ask you. I just think you treat that little snake better than me, Huo Yingzhe whispered, his face slightly red, his eyes flickering, looking away. You also said that he is a snake, and I am a human being. Humans and monsters have different paths. I don't want to have a legend of the white snake. Also, the Snake King is my friend, and he is still a child. We are adults, of course. Take more care of the Snake King, He Tian explained, not wanting Huo Yingzhe to misunderstand the Snake King. A different path for transvestites? He Tian objectively eliminated the Snake King. Is he still a child? Very good. Subjectively, I don't have feelings for the Snake King between men and women. In that case, what else does he have to worry about? Instead of sulking here, when you have free time, go tidy up that nasty little snake. Huo Yingzhe felt very happy when he saw that He Tian spoke honestly and without any falsehood, and said, haha, you are right, I was wrong. From now on, we will take care of the little spirit snake together, so that he can achieve great success in cultivation as soon as possible and return to the world monster clan. Sending that little spiritual snake away from here is the solution once and for all. Seeing what Huo Yingzhe said, He Tian smiled and said, it's great that you think so. I only have you in my heart. It's already full and can't hold anyone else, so don't get jealous. Even though it was a bit unnatural, Huo Yingzhe was still very happy. The upturned corners of his mouth showed Huo Yingzhe's good mood. Oh my, let's make love on the road, came a clear female voice, giggling non-stop. He Tian looked embarrassed and shouted, Chi Xiao Yan, get out of here. Hey, are you shy? Are you embarrassed? Chi Xiao Yan said with a smile, you dare to do it, but you are afraid that we will see it? Are you a big girl? Chi Duniu had no one she had ever talked to before, and she was relatively young. Her face was red and she didn't dare to answer the conversation. He Tian pinched Chi Xiao Yan's arm and said, don't teach bad things to children. Sister Tian, I'm not young anymore, Chi Daniu whispered. Her mother had already found a partner for her, which made her have a little reverie about men. Don't make trouble, He Tian said, if you don't dare to look, don't look. Don't imitate your sister Xiao Yan. She stayed outside for 3 years and learned badly. No way, Chi Xiao Yan was unhappy, when it comes to bringing up bad children, I'm just saying that, but you actually do it. Huo Yingzhe was embarrassed to see the women playing around, so he walked quickly to the front, waiting for He Tian. By the way, why are you here? He Tian asked, looking at them holding basins, are you going to take a bath? Yes, Chi Xiao Yan said, my father said that there will be a special place for unmarried girls to take a bath today. It should be done, you can go over there, He Tian said, I have wild dates here, do you want to bring some over to eat? When Chi Xiao Yan heard this, her eyes lit up and she nodded, of course. He Tian caught a lot for them and said, bring it over and share it with everyone. Okay, Chi Daniu said, Sister Tian, you also want us to take a bath together. He Tian looked at Huo Yingzhe and said, I'm not going today. Next time you go, call me. He, Chi Xiao Yan winked, okay, let's go first. I'll call you next time and we won't disturb your romance. Chi Daniu was snickering on the side. You still say that, He Tian glared at Chi Xiao Yan and Chi Daniu. Ha ha ha, the two of them walked away quickly, no more, no more. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 520. 518. Seeing the two little girls running away, He Tian was angry and laughing. You made a bad friend by mistake. He Tian didn't remember at all how she often made Chi Xiao Yan and Niu Dajin blush. It seems that you have a good relationship. Huo Yingzhe smiled. He had just calculated that Chi Daniu is a longevity person, but Chi Xiao Yan is not a longevity person, but it seems that an expert has helped to change the numerology before. Yes, it's rare that I can have two little sisters in Kijia village. He Tian smiled and said, Big Niu is okay and has been in good health since she was a child. But Xiao Yan's health is not good, but she got better later. How's that? Huo Yingzhe looked at He Tian intently, hoping it wasn't what he suspected. He Tian said, Xiao Yan also had an accident to save me at that time. I thought that my blood could help the Snake King, and it should also help Chi Xiao Yan, so. It's true, Huo Yingzhe said, don't do that in the future. Oh, He Tian nodded, now that you are here and you are so powerful, you don't want me to seek medical treatment in a hurry. Okay, Huo Yingzhe felt distressed. In such an environment, He Tian had no choice. With him here in the future, she won't be so helpless and sad, and he won't let her use her studies to make money. The two went home. He Tian cleaned the dates, put them in a basket to dry, put them away, and left some of them to eat. He Tian likes to eat wild dates, so she washed a large plate and put it on the table. He Tian picked the big one for her mother. Then he took a knife and peeled it for Grandma Chi-san to expose the jujube meat inside so that it could be bitten. Wang Shuping likes to eat sweet and sour dates, and Grandma Chi-san also likes to eat jujube meat. In the afternoon, He Tian accompanied Grandma Chi-san to take a bath and helped her rub her back. He Jingyu had nothing to do in the afternoon and was staying at home with his wife. Huo Yingzhe was carrying her up and down the mountain, which made Grandma Chi-san feel very comfortable. When we passed down the mountain, we arrived at the animal husbandry team. There was Grandma Chi-san's wheelchair, which she had left there when we went up the mountain. Second brother, we are going to have dinner at home tonight. You can come with us now, Grandma Chi-san said. She was getting older and older, and so was the second brother. If it were in the past, old man Chi would have refused, but in the summer, he fell ill and made him feel that the passage of time could no longer tolerate his wasting it. Okay, old man Chi said. He went to the house and took the 2 bottles of wine that Huo Yingzhe sent over, preparing to take them over so that the 3 of you can have a few more drinks. Grandma Chi-san was also very happy to see that old man Chi did not push back and forth like before. When he got home, He Tian washed the dates and the peaches he had hidden before and gave them to everyone to eat. She and Huo Yingzhe cook. He Tian handed the match to Huo Yingzhe. Huo Yingzhe took it, and when He Tian wasn't paying attention, he snapped his fingers and all the firewood inside caught fire. Brother Yingzhe, I find that you are very good at everything you do. The first time I made a fire, it was a mess and it took a lot of effort, He Tian praised, saying that smart people can do anything with half the effort. Haha, you're flattered, Huo Yingzhe said modestly. Huo Yingzhe is also good at making fires. Not only for making porridge, but also for cooking, the heat is very good. Dinner was very sumptuous. Huo Yingji drank with the old man and his future father-in-law. Old man Qi was very happy, but unknowingly, he drank a little too much. In the evening, He Jingyu drank as much wine as he could in a glass and fell asleep directly after drinking. He Tian, Huo Yingji sent Qi to the old man. The night is bright with few stars and everything is silent. The two of them didn't speak and went home hand in hand. Huo Yingji had already received the exact information from He Jingyu and Wang Shuping, and immediately wrote a letter to his family to discuss marriage. After a period of time, He Tian finished her work at home and went to the back mountain to collect dry goods. Huo Yingji also followed, holding a small hoe, digging here and there a few times, and he could dig a lot in a day. "Brother Yingji, what did you dig up?" He Tian asked. She didn't recognize anyone. "This is medicinal material," Huo Yingji said. "Winter is about to begin. I look after Grandma Qi. Grandpa Qi is relatively weak. I want to make some elixirs for them." "Elixir?" He Tian was stunned. "Oh, I almost forgot that you have ancient memories. But, Brother Yingji, you will get so many things." "Haha, there are more, you just don't know it yet." Huo Yingji smiled and said, "Here, give me the stuff and I'll take it." Well, He Tian gave her backpack directly to Huo Yingji. "The medicinal materials here don't have spiritual energy, can they still be used to make elixirs?" Huo Yingji nodded and said, "It should be said that it is refining medicine. Although it does not have spiritual energy, it still has medicinal properties and can treat some diseases." "I see." He Tian nodded. "Okay, then don't help me pick things up anymore, you can be responsible for digging for medicine." "It doesn't matter, it's just a matter of convenience." Huo Yingji didn't take it seriously. With Huo Yingji's help, He Tian gained a lot. It was just for refining medicine. Huo Yingji didn't have a suitable alchemy furnace, so he had to go down there. In the middle of the night, Huo Yingji arrived at the cave alone, followed the entrance of the underground river, followed the little spin turtle into the water, performed a magic trick, and saw the stone door under the water open. "Master, this place is the same as before. There is no change." The little spinner looked at the familiar furnishings around him with nostalgia. So many years have passed, times have changed, and the world has changed dramatically. Originally there was no underground river here, but now there is a cold underground river. "It hasn't changed," Huo Yingji said, looking around. The little spinner turtle looked around greedily. Even though these things looked very extraordinary now, at the time, they were just ordinary things, otherwise they would not have taken them away and left them here. Although the little spin turtle knew this place, he didn't have the magic formula, so even though it had come here with He Tian a long time ago, it didn't come in here. "Master, did you come here to practice?" the little turtle asked, not understanding why the master opened this cave. "No," Huo Yingji replied briefly, then rummaged carefully in the display room. He has been practicing for too long, and now he wants to be an ordinary person, doing whatever he wants in the world of mortals, and being content with whatever happens. The little spinner turtle follows its owner, watching him search. But when he saw a small tripod that was only 2 palms in size, Huo Yingji's eyes lit up and he nodded, "Yes, that's it." In the void, as soon as he reached out his hand, the small purple gold cauldron fell into Huo Yingji's hand. "Master, do you want to make elixirs?" asked the little turtle, "but there are no natural or earthly treasures here." "If you don't make elixirs, make medicines," Huo Yingji said. "It's no longer useful to us, but it is useful to ordinary people." Upon hearing this, the little spinner was a little disappointed. If it was alchemy, he could still get some light, increase his practice, and just refine the medicine. "Haha, don't worry, I will help you practice on February 2nd next year." Huo Yingji was in a rare good mood and comforted his little cute pet. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 521. 519. This little thing knows how to practice. But it is precisely because of the little turtle that it can have what it has today. Huo Yingzhe is not disgusted. Thank you, Master, the little turtle said happily. Although it can practice by itself, it is also possible, but the speed is too slow, and many methods need to be comprehended by itself. It's just that its intelligence is limited, and it is even slower to comprehend. With the master on the side, it can get twice the result with half the effort. Ever since seeing the human form of the Snake King, the little turtle has also been imagining that one day he can also transform into a human form and follow his master out instead of hiding, for fear that once his original body appears, he will be stewed by humans, even though he is a stone. Let's go out, Huo Yingzhe said, and wanted to leave after getting what he wanted. He didn't want to touch the other things in here. Now he is immortal, so he just does ordinary things. Because he likes this kind of life too much, warm and happy, so he wants to get more longevity pills to help Hetianation's family and his family. The little turtle was reluctant to leave and looked around. Okay, stop looking. You don't need to leave if you don't want to. Huo Yingzhe saw the little turtle dawdling behind him, and when he turned around, he saw the little turtle's reluctant look. The little turtle smiled awkwardly and said, I just miss the past more. Haha, after I find you a companion, you won't miss the past, but only think about the present and the future. Huo Yingzhe laughed, judging others by himself, that's what he thought. The little turtle was stunned, and said a little embarrassedly, Master, you just make fun of me. If you don't want to, forget it, Huo Yingzhe said, with a smirk on his lips. Hey, the little turtle wanted to be shy, but saw that the master had taken back what he had just said, so he quickly said, Master, in fact, you can find a companion or something. Haha, Huo Yingzhe laughed, then why are you shy? You are acting like a little lady. Master, I am a male, the little turtle said, you have more say than anyone else on this point. Huo Yingzhe laughed and said, okay, I still remember it. Tell me what you think in the future. If I can help you, I will try my best to help you. If I can't help you, even if you say I won't help you. Oh, the master is still so straightforward. One man and one turtle came out, and the stone door with special symbols painted on it closed automatically, and then they came out of the dark river. When they arrived at the entrance of the cave, they were greeted by boiling hot air. Huo Yingzhe didn't like the Snake King and ignored him. The Snake King also hated Huo Yingzhe, but he was also afraid of Huo Yingzhe, so he hid in the pool and didn't come out. It's best to live in peace and pretend that no one saw each other. Huo Yingzhe was about to step out of the cave, but he turned around and said, don't talk nonsense in front of Tian Tian in the future. You know, I can let you live or die. The Snake King was arrogant and poked his head out of the water, saying, in fact, you can kill me now. Do you think I dare not? Huo Yingzhe narrowed his eyes, murderous intent was immediately revealed. You dare not, said the Snake King, I am Hetianation's benefactor, Hetian is your sweetheart, and so on, I should also be your benefactor. Even if you are a god, you can't treat your benefactor as well. Snake King, can't you say less? The little spiral turtle was anxious. Its master was too powerful, and the Snake King was no match for the master. The Snake King would rather break than yield, with his neck stiff, and an expression that said if you have the guts, just kill me. The little spiral turtle was anxious, worried that they would really fight. Huo Yingzhe stretched out his right hand, and pointed his white and slender fingertips at the little spiral turtle. Okay, I'll help you, Huo Yingzhe said softly. Even though he was not a love rival, This little snake was not honest and often talked about him in front of He Tian Tian. Master, the lady will be sad, the little turtle said. The Snake King is actually not bad, he just has a bad temper. Master, calm down, don't be angry. Huo Yingjia's fingers paused for a moment and said, you are so confident because you know that I can't bear to see Tian Tian angry. Yes, the Snake King is also not afraid of death. Okay, you can do it. Huo Yingjia smiled, you won the bet, I really can't make Tian Tian angry. Let's make a deal, how about it? What deal? The Snake King was alert, don't try to kill me secretly, Tian Tian and I are directly connected by blood, if I die, she can sense it. It's really a bit of a headache. The second day of the second month of next year is the day when the dragon raises its head. On that day, I will let you pass the 9 heavens mysterious thunder, and I will protect you, Huo Yingjia said, and help you open the space crack and let you go home. If I don't kill you, then I'll take you away. Get out of here. As far as you can, get out of here. Out of sight, out of mind. No, time is too tight. I don't have enough time to practice. The risk of going through the tribulation is too great. The Snake King was not a fool. He didn't believe Huo Yingjia was so kind. Going through the tribulation is a disaster, but also a new life. In the tribulation, he will temper his flesh and will, making him bigger and stronger. You don't know what's good for you, Huo Yingjia said, and then he floated away. Seeing Huo Yingjia leave, the little tortoise said angrily, Snake King, you are too petty. Although the master is conceited, he does what he says. He said he would protect you and help you tear the space cracks, and he will not break his promise. But why is he so nice to me? The Snake King was puzzled and asked. In fact, he almost agreed just now. You are really a fan of the authorities, said the little turtle. The most nervous thing about the master is his wife. Your presence has diverted some of the wife's attention. In this way, the master, who is very possessive, will naturally dislike you. You can't kill him. If I don't like you, then I'll send you away. Out of sight, out of mind. Out of sight, out of mind? Why does this sound uncomfortable? Anyway, I don't think he has good intentions, Snake King said. He is your master, so of course you have to speak for him. Hey, you don't know a good person's heart, the little turtle said. I'm reminding you because you helped me practice. You don't believe in the master or me, but you should believe in Tian Tian. Yes, I believe in Tian Tian. The Snake King was extremely sure that that silly woman was the best person to him besides his parents. Since you believe in her, you must believe in the master, little spin turtle said. As long as the master promises Tian Tian, he will definitely do it. Really, the Snake King was dubious. He always felt very dangerous in front of the powerful Huo Yingjia. Yes, said the little turtle, master never breaks his promise to Tian Tian. Okay, Snake King said, I'll talk to Tian Tian another day. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 522. 520. The snake was under the eaves and had to bow its head. That's okay, said the little spin turtle, anyway, don't speak ill of the master in front of the wife. In fact, the master knows it, otherwise you think that the master has nothing to do and wants to trouble you. The Snake King felt a little unnatural after being spoken to by the little spin turtle. He shook his head, trying to get away with it. You just need to know it yourself, said the little turtle. Even if Madam is your benefactor, you can't always ask for repayment. The master will not give you less for what is due to you. The Snake King was still careful not to speak. The little spin turtle was a very kind-hearted person. Seeing that the Snake King couldn't listen, he said, I know you have some undue thoughts about our wife, but I want to tell you here, you'd better stop the thoughts in your heart. So many things have happened in the past. The wife of the immortal who was still in love with Fairy Yun was chopped off by her master, not even the scum was left. Really, The Snake King was a little scared. The little spin turtle nodded and said, "Really? Just take care of yourself." After saying that, the little spinner turtle went to the bottom of the dark river, leaving the dumbfounded Snake King behind. The Snake King was dejected, lamenting his own weakness and remembering his secret love that ended in vain. In the demon world where the strong are respected, if you don't have ability, you won't have the ability to get all the good things. Don't think about it anymore, practice. He wants to go home to his parents. Thinking of this, the Snake King sank into the water. Gilialug, the water is steaming. There is more heat in the cave and the water is boiling even more. After Huo Yingzhi returned, he put away his things before lying on the bed to sleep. He had to admit that he was annoyed by that little spirit snake. However, the little spirit snake is still young after all, and does not have too deep scheming, so it is easy to deal with. It is also easy to help him overcome the disaster. But that gadget is so irritating. Thinking of He Tian in the room not far away, Huo Yingzhi's newly rising anger and the 180 ways to kill the little snake all disappeared. Alas, both Yuner and He Tian were destined for his fate. Not for one lifetime, but for lifetimes to come. In order to prevent her from hating him, he can't act as willfully as before. Forget it, don't argue with that little snake and send him away as soon as possible. When He Tian got up early the next morning, Huo Yingzhi was already doing a set of boxing skills in the yard, which looked like Tai Chi or Wu Qin 11. Anyway, He Tian didn't know what it was. "Yingzhi, what are you practicing for?" He Jingyu asked Huo Yingzhi curiously after washing up. "I don't know. I just learned it from an old colleague and kept fit, and the results were pretty good," Huo Yingzhi said. "My work was very intense before, so I couldn't do it without exercising." He Jingyu nodded and said, "Okay, when you reach middle age, you feel that you are not as good as before. You really should exercise well. Come on, teach me." Huo Yingzhi made a move and asked He Jingyu to follow it. If something was wrong, Huo Yingzhi stopped and helped He Jingyu explain. A set of movements, a total of 18 movements, took 20 minutes to sit down, and He Jingyu was so tired that he was sweating profusely. Not bad, not bad. I was tired when I was doing it. After I stopped, I sweated and felt relaxed all over," He Jingyu praised. "Thank you, Yingzhi." "You're welcome, as long as it's useful to you," Huo Yingzhi said. Huo Yingzhi has been in Kijia village for more than a week and has completely adapted to the life here, which is quiet, peaceful, and leisurely. In 1 week's time, it will be Qi Xiaoyan's wedding day. He Tian often accompanied Qi Xiaoyan to the county town to buy things. Huo Yingzhi was worried about He Tian and would follow him wherever he went. He Tian was a little embarrassed at first, but then she bought a lot of things and all of them were on Huo Yingzhi. All the embarrassment in He Tian's heart disappeared. Because they bought too much stuff to fit on their bicycles, they asked old man Liu's ox cart to help them pull them back to Kijia village. On the way, old Liu was as talkative as ever. "By the way, a few days ago there were a few foreigners in their 20s and 30s who went to Kijia village to ride on my ox cart. Do you know them?" Old man Liu has been pulling carts for many years and is almost familiar with the few people along the way. People in the village have a general impression. "No," Qi Xiaoyan said, "when a foreigner comes to find someone or relatives, he usually goes to the village branch to hand over a letter of introduction, a household registration certificate, etc. My father didn't say anything when he got home, so he probably didn't come to our village." Old man Liu was stunned and said, "I sent them to a stop 2 miles away from Kijia village. Most of the foreign dialects they spoke were incomprehensible, but I heard Kijia village several times. That's strange. I'll talk to my dad when I get back," Qi Xiaoyan said, not paying too much attention. Old man Liu thought for a while and said, "I don't think those people are serious people. Your village is different from the past, because every household in Dazi has money. Also, There is a big tomb in your back hill, and there are treasures. Some people care about them, and they are very normal. Ah, Chi Xiao Yan was stunned. The villagers have money, how can they still come and rob it? That's not necessarily the case, Old Man Lu said. If you rob them and run away, you can't catch them. By the time the police arrive, they have already disappeared and they can't be caught. There are many people in your village, so it's better, but I'm afraid. They are those vicious tomb robbers. Grave robber, He Tian was shocked. She was deeply impressed by the tomb robber. There were several grave robbers in front of her, and while mowing the grass, she also encountered a wave of grave robbers. What a bad luck! Have you ever seen a tomb robber? Chi Xiao Yan asked. She was not at home and didn't know much about things in Kijia village. I've seen it before. That time De Niu and I were mowing the grass. 4 tomb robbers stole something and left, and they happened to bump into us. De Niu and I ran fast, but those people were busy running away and didn't chase us. Captain Chi led people to chase, but failed to catch up, and those people fled away. Those people had guns in their hands, and I was almost scared to death. But my dad said that the big tomb at the back has been excavated and all the good things are in the museum. Why do those tomb robbers come to Kijia village? Chi Xiao Yan was puzzled and couldn't figure it out. It's better to be careful anyway, Old Man Lu said, just in case. Just as he was talking, he met 2 young people, a man and a woman. Old Man Liu's ox cart passed by and he asked, Old man, can you give us a ride? Old Man Lu tightened the reins, looked at He Tian and Chi Xiao Yan, and said, do you agree that someone will give me a ride? When He Tian was in the United States, she knew the pain of not being able to catch a ride. She nodded and said, it's okay, let them take the ride. The things Chi Xiao Yan bought were placed on the bullock cart. Chi Xiao Yan was riding a bicycle, and He Tian was sitting on the back seat of Huo Yingji's bicycle. 2 young men, where are you going? Old Man Lu asked. The 2 young men's clothes were clean and they didn't look like bad people. We are going to Kijia village, one of the young men said. Old man, are you on our way?